Hey guys, John B from PhoneArena. You're watching our video comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S6 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. We definitely see the evolution of Samsung's designs in these two handsets. The Note 4 is very notable for being an aesthetically pleasing handset, a contemporary design, and it kind of was the iterative device needed to produce the S6. Now, what's most abundantly clear about the design is just the size. The Note 4 being the larger handset, a little bit tougher to maneuver with one hand, so the S6 is far more compact, easier to handle, and it has also more of a premium aesthetic with its design. So you now have Gorilla Glass 4 surfaces on the front and back paired with that metal trim bezel. Just gave it a more aesthetically pleasing handset, and we definitely love how the light bounces off these surfaces to give off that dazzling effect. It's not to say the Note 4's design is bad. It's great. It's contemporary. You have the leather-like back casing paired with the trim bezel, giving it a sophisticated look, but we definitely like the direction that Samsung has went with the S6. They both offer fingerprint sensors incorporated into their home buttons, but the implementation used by the S6 is far better. It's simpler and easier to operate. They also have similar features, and they include things like their IR blasters, which allow them to double as universal remotes. In the back, you have their heart rate sensors, which allows you to use the S Health application to measure your pulse. And you have also NFC included with both. But with the S6, you have the built-in wireless charging, no added accessory. You don't get that with the Note 4. But the Note 4 shows off its depth in the form of having a removable battery. You have a micro SD card slot for increased storage capacity, and all the advantages that come along with the S Pen stylus for productivity. The displays are wonderful on both. We can't complain, utilizing both Super AMOLED technology, but again, we see more improvements made with the S6's display. It's a 5.1-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED panel in the S6 versus the even larger 5.7-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED display of the Note 4. In terms of detail, even though there's a slight advantage to the S6 in terms of pixel density, you would hardly notice it in pretty much everyday usage. From surfing the web, watching videos, the two are exquisitely sharp and detailed. But again, we see improvements made to the S6's display in terms of color reproduction, color accuracy, and also other things like brightness output and color temperature. It's just better regardless with the S6, and it just goes to show. But the Note 4 display isn't bad either. Now, if you look at their core performance, their core experiences, obviously we're dealing with TouchWiz. It's basically TouchWiz old versus TouchWiz new. The S6 running on top of Lollipop, of course. Now, on the surface, they appear to be similar, almost still embodying the same cartoony looks of TouchWiz past, but there's a cleaner approach with the S6 that we like. Now, the S6 has just, a little bit more personalization in the form of the various themes you could use to, change up the look and feel of the UI. You don't get that with the Note 4. But you still have some of the core experiences you find with TouchWiz. They include things like multi-window, so you have that same degree, same fidelity when it comes to multitasking, a one-handed operation mode, so you could actually interact with a certain app a lot easier with one hand. You get the same set of features here with the Note 4. Now, the thing that will appeal to people with the Note 4 is its superior productivity aspect. Now, you get the same similar features, of course, multi-window, one-handed mode, but you get a little bit more thanks to the aid of the S Pen stylus. With that, it acts as a cursor, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. So for productivity-centric folks, they'll definitely appreciate it. From jotting down notes to acting as a cursor over the display to for precise input, you just have a little bit more flexibility with the Note 4's experience. And of course, for word processing, spreadsheets, the S Pen proves to be very valuable. Now, the processing performance with you have the latest Exynos chip from Samsung's camp, an octa-core 64-bit base one, and in the Note 4, you have the older Qualcomm Snapdragon 805 chip. It's a quad-core. Now, superficially, when it comes to basic things, opening up applications, moving around the home screen, you're not going to notice a whole lot of difference in terms of their performances and responsiveness, but over time we do notice that the Note 4 just lags a little, lags more frequently, especially for simple things like if you're playing a game and you get back to the home screen by pressing the button, it takes longer. It's just a delay, whereas with the S6, it's pretty much flawless, and the two are great for games, so we have no complaints about that. Now in the back, we have their respective cameras. You can tell that their camera sensors jut out a little bit, but they're both 16 megapixel cameras with an LED flash. The main difference here is that the S6 benefits from having a wider aperture lens of f1.9 versus the Note 4's f2.2 aperture lens. So in that regard, it's supposedly able to take better photos under low light because it's able to take in more light in the process. Now, in terms of photo quality, you won't be disappointed. They take superb looking shots, especially outdoors, but we tend to notice a little bit more sharp photos with the Note 4's results. Now, that could be attributed to the wider aperture of the S6's camera, which in turn just kind of gives it a softer touch, but detail is still great with both. And both are also pretty good at handling low light scenery, just as long as you have a steady hand, of course. So that's something you want to keep track of. On top of that too, they're incredible when it comes to shooting video. You have 1080p at various speeds you can record, in addition to 4K, and with 4K naturally you're going to get a lot of detail and sharpness with the two handsets. We just noticed that the S6's camera is a little bit quicker when it comes to adjusting focus on the fly, but again, both are going to be awesome in that regard. Phone call quality, we don't find one to be exceptionally better than the other. They get the job done. Conversations are easily done on both handsets. Voices are clear for the most part, though we do notice a little bit of distortion in both, but the S6's earpiece has a slight hiss with voices. It's not bad, but it is noticeable. Battery life goes to the Note 4, partly because of the larger capacity it's sporting inside. On top of that, it is a removable battery, so if you need extra juice, you could just swap the battery out, whereas you don't have that advantage, you don't have that benefit with the S6. Although with the S6, you have quick charging, so a short period of time will allow for a pretty substantial amount of juice, and you also have the convenience of wireless charging. Frankly, it just boils down to personal preference. That's pretty much the decision maker between both handsets. They both excel in several areas, but if you want the more compact handset with a lighter frame and a premium design quality, stick with the Samsung Galaxy S6. It's of course the flagship device from Samsung's camp, and it shows that the company is constantly moving forward. But if you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're more about productivity, getting a lot of work done, stick with the Galaxy Note 4 just because it adheres to all those specific tasks. And on top of that, it's still a wonderful performing smartphone in general. So if you guys want to learn more about either handset, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.